Destructive News Network news, no matter how destructive. And in this video, we are going to take a look at a Houston family that has been brutalized by street violence, not gun violence, but street violence, and how the police and the news media paint a picture that makes them helpless. Let's take a look.
And developing this afternoon, a father is found dead at the same home where his son was killed just a few days ago. Fox 26's Nate Griffin is in Southeast Houston with what police are now saying.
Well, I can tell you one thing they're saying. They're saying that they have to get control of what's happening with all of these shootings. That is.
Well, they've been on a mission to stop what is happening with all of these shootings since before I was born. So it's safe to say that they failed in that mission and they will never be successful in it, no matter how much money they claim to need or claim to lose.
One thing that they're saying this morning in relation to this particular incident, police responded to the call on Swiss Lane near Alameda Genoa just before 8 last night. Now, here's the backstory. Let me give you that first. Monday night, according to investigators, the victim's parents were told by a friend of the son to go check on their 37-year-old son at the house on Swiss Lane.
I don't think that this person that called them is a friend. So there is... anyone with any sense can understand that if you had a friend, right, and that friend, something happened to him, and he is now in a home dead, laying in a hallway, would you call the parents of your friend to tell them, hey, yo, you better go check on your son, only for them to arrive at the home to a dead body that they've got to call in themselves? I promise you that they are not friends, and that phone call, that person needs to be documented, researched, and investigated further.
When the parents arrived, they found their son dead in a hallway. They called the police.
Some friend.
And that's when things happened. 2 nights later, the parents returned to the house per authorities, looking to retrieve some of the son's items and a vehicle.
FBI task force. Interesting.
They brought a wrecker along to tow one of the vehicles. It was at that time that a dark vehicle pulled in, blocked the parents' vehicle in.
Black.
4 or 5 masked people actually jumped out of the vehicle, started shooting at the couple's SUV.
So there's a lot going on here. This sounds a lot less innocent than it's being made out to be. This actually sounds more like an episode of Sons of Anarchy or the Mayans on FX. A person that's called a friend calls the parents to tell them, hey, you better go check on your son, knowing fully that that man is dead in the home and that they're sending their parents to discover their son's dead body. That kicks off the investigation, the whole normal process, the coroner and the police investigators. Then what happens next is really weird. The parents themselves go to the property to take a vehicle or vehicles. They bring a wrecker with them. I don't know if they're driving the wrecker themselves. I think that is very strange unless they own a wrecking business, which is very popular for black people that are entrepreneurs and doing their own thing. If that is the case, I think that's something that needs to be mentioned and investigated as well. What type of business were they doing? Who were they doing pulls and tows for? So they go to pick up the car and some things from the home, only to be ambushed, boxed in. Let's take a look.
Now, per the sources, the tires and engine were shot first, after which 13 or more shots were fired, some hitting the father, who was taken to the hospital where he later died. Now, the woman was not injured, yet a gunman did open fire on her.
It is a little unusual. Like I say, at this point, we don't know.
It's not unusual. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this person is. But I really feel like we should start deep diving into Houston. We should start deep diving into the Houston Police Department, Sheriff's Department, Harris County Sheriffs, all of it. Because there's nothing, I don't even live in Houston. And I know that there is nothing unusual about this. This is pretty much every night. they're chasing murders down. They're chasing mass shootings down. And to come on the news and tell everyone that this is an unusual thing. It's not, sir. You know it's not. We know it's not.
If they're related, however, just based upon the circumstances, that would be a pretty good guess, but we just don't know for sure at this point. So it's very distressing, I'll say that.
Not really.
It's unfortunate that you have to live in an area where this type of thing takes place, where you have 4 to 5 people jump out of a car and shoot a truck up with 2 people in it. So very unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate, but not very unusual.
In downtown Houston, Nate Griffin, Fox 26 Morning News.
All right, let's take a look at the article. If you're still with us, hey, thank you. That's why I try to do the interesting in the media stuff first, so that, if you just want to see what's going on and move on, you can. But for my loyal subscribers, loyal watchers, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for comments. Thank you for shares if you're doing that. But let's take a look at the text. This is from Newsweek. I believe they picked up the article here. On Thursday, police in Houston say that a man was killed at a house days after his son was fatally shot at the same location. Texas news outlets reported Thursday that a father was shot and killed Wednesday evening when he and a man's mother arrived at the house on Swiss Lane. So the way that they're saying that he's the father, but then they're saying like he and the man's, it's just weird the way they're writing this, on Swiss Lane to pick up a vehicle. So now we have an address or a street name anyways. They're really playing these games. They really don't want us to know information. They don't want us to know the race of the people involved. They don't want us to know where it happened exactly. So they're writing these articles. They're doing these news programs in a way where it kind of just has this mysterious kind of cloud over important details that you should know as a viewer or a person living in Houston. Houston police said that when they arrived at the house, 4 or 5 masked individuals got out of the car and started shooting their vehicle. So they pull up to do their business, and I don't know whether or not these guys were following them or whether they were sitting on the house waiting for someone to come. But I don't know what type of stuff that this guy was into, but it got almost his entire immediate family killed violently. The man was injured and taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. And the woman didn't suffer any injuries. It's unfortunate. You must live in an area where this thing takes place, where you have 4 to 5 people jump out of a car and shoot a truck up with 2 people in it. The Houston Police Department, Houston Police Department Lieutenant Larry Krausen said. So now we've got a name because the local media wouldn't give us the person's name, wouldn't even put a box down at the bottom with his information on there so that we could follow up on who this person is. Thank you, Newsweek, for providing those missing details. Police in Houston say that a man was killed at the house Thursday, days after his son was fatally shot there. Above Houston, police vehicles are pictured at a crime scene. May 15th. This is probably May 15th was, no, that wasn't days. That was weeks. So unrelated picture, I'm sure. The man was found suffering from multiple gunshot wounds inside his residence. Just before midnight, investigators learned an unknown number of suspects forced entry into the victim's home and shot him before taking items from inside the residence. Investigators believe the suspect also stole 2 vehicles from the home. We didn't get this information. The vehicles were described as a black Jaguar F-Pace and a dark blue Mitsubishi Outlander. This guy's got a Jaguar F-Pace, and the house that it was parked at looked like a trailer. So, putting our mind grapes together, we're starting to understand this is more than likely based on a few things. 5 people masked jumping out of a car, gunning down your parents when they come to pick up the Outlander. That screams more in line with an episode of Sons of Anarchy than just a robbery. In a press release about the second shooting, police said they responded to the same residence on Wednesday evening and found a victim unresponsive in the street. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The unknown suspects flee the scene before officers arrived. Detectives learned that the victim was a family member of the man fatally shot at the same residence 2 nights earlier, the department stated. A preliminary investigation indicates the motive in both shootings appear to be robbery and narcotics related. The investigation is ongoing, it added. A spokesperson for the Houston police referred Newsweek to the news releases and said that the department isn't releasing the identification of the victims yet. I wonder why. And something that I also picked out was the presence of what appeared to be federal investigators. 4 or 5
masked people actually.
Houston police and FBI.
Authorities looking to.
Boom. Police, FBI task force. Why would the FBI be at the scene of some random shooting in Houston? Because this is bigger than what they're saying it is. This is probably criminal underworld coming to roost. Not saying that these people deserved it, not saying that this woman deserved to have her son murdered, herself be put in danger, and her husband gunned down in front of her. I don't know how deep this goes. I don't know if they're involved or not. But the people waited or followed them and gunned them down. They disabled the vehicles that came to pick up the car, shot at both of them into the car. He gets out, dies. They continue, what I believe, to shoot at the woman. They all missed. So what does this teach us? What does this tell us? 1, gun control is a scam to further dive the common man into hell. If you have no way to defend yourself against what the police can't stop, then you're a sitting duck. And you need more than a .22 caliber pistol and a hunting rifle to defend yourself with. You need access to AK-47s, AR-15s, and honestly, we should be able to have fully automatic weapons because we live in a world where criminals are armed with these things, and the people that keep limiting our legal ability keep putting us in danger. January 6th should be a holiday. It should be marked the day where they get to feel the pain and fear that most Americans feel every day in their homes. Thank you for checking out the channel. Hit that like, hit that share, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.